Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to the Medium's Table. I'm your host, Michelle Gardner. This podcast is your personal invitation to join me at the intersection of the everyday and the extraordinary. Together, we'll explore the magic of mediumship, share spiritual stories, and connect with fellow mediums on this incredible journey. So grab a seat, pour yourself a cuppa, and come join us at the Medium's Table, where spirits gather and stories unfold. Disclaimer, just a heads up to all our lovely followers. Our social media is a space where we share personal stories, including those of various mediums. Let's keep the vibe positive and respect each other's beliefs. Every journey is unique, and here we celebrate the diversity of experiences. I'd like to welcome to the show, or should I say back to the show, Dawn Gallagher. Welcome back, Dawn.
Oh, thank you. I'm never away from the place, am I?
I know.
God.
And she's also a renowned author now. Mm-hmm. So we must mention that, but we'll get to that at the end about where you can find her books.
Okay.
All right. So, Dawn, on this episode, we're going to do a little bit of myth busting.
Oh, fab.
I know. I love myth busting. So we've had some audience members submit a few queries and questions.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to go through them. We'll do a couple today on this episode, and I'd love to hear your answers or is it myth? Is it real? True? False? Are you ready?
I am.
Okay. Here's the first one. You have to be carrying a lot of weight, as in body mass, to channel spirit.
God, where do people get this bullshit from? No, is the absolute. I mean, look at me. I'm so skinny, and I can speak to dead people. No, it's just bullshit, isn't it? I think what happens with stuff like this is that you get somebody who can do it. I'm talking about in the old days here, right? Or maybe even today. And they are quite ego driven, as in, look at me, look how special I am. And then maybe somebody inquires or makes inquiries to them, can anyone do this? What better way to, kind of like push them away from even trying to think that they're good enough to do this? No, you're too skinny. You have to carry a lot of weight to do this. That's where bullshit like that comes from.
Yeah.
It's from ego.
Yeah.
Pure driven ego. Let's put them down. Let's keep them down in a corner. Who the hell do they think they are that they could aspire to be as great as me? Type attitude. That's completely bullshit.
And I think around that as well, let's expand that a little further. It may have been based on, because I think there was a little bit more to this question, that to the larger the size of the person, the better they're able to hold the energy. Because if you're too small, you can't hold the energy of spirit.
Yeah. Again, that's somebody trying to blind somebody with science. It's bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Sorry to be so direct. It can't be anything but. Anyone can hold energy.
Yeah.
Anyone.
Yeah.
Anyone can do this.
Yeah.
If you have somebody telling you, you can't do it because, only somebody special like me can do it because I've got, say a wonky eye. Only people with wonky eyes can hold energy.
Yeah.
It's absolute and utter bullshit. Everybody the ability to do it. So I love that one. That's fun.
All right. So that's a big that's crap.
Yeah. Crap bullshit.
Okay, the next one. The only way to do only one way to do mediumship. And that's the old way.
Oh.
So do we understand the old way opposed to the new way?
Okay. So for those people who don't understand the old way, I'll explain it to you. I mean, this is based in England and in America as well. So mediumship has come a long way since, Fox sisters, found, that they could communicate by knocking on the walls, and, spirits would answer by tapping back, all that kind of stuff.
Mm.
And again, ego thing. So the spiritual union was founded, and they set boundaries and guidelines, if you like, or boundaries really, as to what you can do to prove a mediumship reading and what you can't do to prove a mediumship reading.
Right.
As in communicating with spirits. So if, for instance, I was giving you a reading and I was holding a pen at the same time, I would not be able to give you that mediumship reading. Because they were saying that I would use this as a tool to focus my energy to connect with spirit.
Right.
So I would not be allowed to go into a spiritual church run by the SNU, the Spiritual National Union, if I held a tool. That's the old way. They were very strict. You had to follow a certain format. You had to get, okay, I have a man here. You have to then describe him. He is like 6 foot tall. He died of a heart attack. He was your granddad. You have to follow a format.
Wow.
And if you don't follow that format, you don't get to do readings in the spiritual union churches. In the spiritual union, you also have to sit for like 20,000 years to even think about being good enough to stand on the platform and give mediumship readings. You have to sit in their development circle for another 20,000 years. It's I don't want to say it's ego driven, but it kind of is, in the fact that they haven't evolved. They're still very much in a churchy type setting.
Yep.
And I personally, this is my personal opinion, don't feel there's there's much call for the old way of mediumship. I'm being very careful how I word this because I don't want to offend any old spiritualists who are still following this way of working. It has its place for certain people. It has. Like religion has its place for certain people.
Yeah.
Not for me. Yeah. Not for me. So there's a decline in the numbers attending spiritual churches in England as well as America. So the decline is because the world is actually getting smaller. Look at us. I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
I'm in England. You're in Australia. Pre-COVID, that was very difficult to do. Yeah. We're only talking 3 years, 4 years max. And look how, small the world has become.
That's true.
So the old way of doing things is declining because the new way of doing things, the new way of mediumship, as in using technology to benefit and to connect with more people from, different countries, is just incredible. So as a medium who kind of was trained in the old way, it's too many restrictions.
Yeah.
Because spirit are not restricted. So if I've got somebody who's died coming through to me and I'm going, listen, mate, you're going to have to wait a minute. I haven't described you yet. You're just going to have to wait. The spirit should not have to wait for us. It should be fluid. So when, I don't know, your granddad comes through, whatever, and he's this amazing bloke and he's got his vibes and he's a bit flirty and he's a bit this and he's a bit that, For me, I want to be really expressive and I want to bring all that through, going, oh my God, he's just flirting with me. And
Yeah.
you would know that's him.
Yeah.
Whereas in the old way, they use words more to describe, okay, he's a very very affable man, would talk to anybody. Um, do you understand that? Well, yeah, but hasn't really caught the essence of him.
Mm.
Whereas the new way is allowing them to be who they are. It's not putting restrictions on them.
Yeah.
How old are you when you died? Come on, tell me that. I want to know that.
Mm.
What did you die of? Well, I'm not being funny. If I'm dead, I don't want to be talking about what the fuck I died from.
Exactly.
Unless it's, imperative.
Yeah, really relevant. Yeah.
Knows that information. God almighty, just embrace the fact that you've got somebody who's dead talking to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just amazing.
Yeah.
Rather than being restricted, I've got to follow this format when I do a reading.
Mm.
Sorry, I didn't last very long in this spiritual medium.
I can't imagine why.
I know. God, I mean, you'd think I'd be in my element. Yeah, no. I mean, I call bullshit on it all for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
As I say, it has its place. That's old mediumship. And new mediumship is, I think, just going with the flow. And also, new mediumship is about people who come into this life and are able to do readings for people with, say, very little formal training.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's a different kettle of fish.
Mm.
Okay, different kettle of fish. Because let me format my words properly here. Because, for instance, if you have somebody who has freaky things happening to them all the time, they're hearing voices in their head,
Mm.
blah, 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 blah. The first thing you have to ask yourself is this a mental illness?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't automatically assume it's spirit.
Mm.
If you're pretty certain that it's not a mental illness and that, you're talking to dead people and you're getting a lot of, spirit stuff happening around you and you've had no formal training, you certainly need guidance.
Mm. Yeah.
And that guidance is how to control the communication in the sense of you cannot be open 24/7 to spirit talking to you.
Mm. Mm.
So that leads on to, grounding and all that kind of stuff. So there's an awful lot of mediums online who do run training courses.
Mm.
We used to call them development circles in spiritual churches. But so a lot of mediums, run training courses, which are valuable, really valuable. So I would always go by recommendations. There's a few mediums who I personally would recommend training courses. Make sure they're good ones.
Mm.
Do the
it's
research.
Important. Yeah, it's important to build a good foundation, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Because if you don't, you can't build a brick wall without a proper foundation. If you're building a brick wall on mud,
yeah,
it's going to stink.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, so the old way of training people and embedding that foundation, they wouldn't there was very rare opportunities for people to move out of the foundation level.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to talk about. So they really are good at building the foundation, but they're really not good at explaining, or my experience of explaining what this foundation level is all about.
Yeah.
You just go in there, sit in circle, and the medium comes up with an exercise that you do. It's a bit something and nothing.
Yeah. So do you think the old way was very or is probably is still for some very restricting on an individual's unique abilities?
Yes. Yeah. You so you can't be an individual in the spiritual uni. You have to follow their format. So for instance, when I first went there, I didn't know it at the time, and I didn't know what it was at the time, but I was slipping into trance all the time. And I was just told it was all in my head.
Wow. Yeah, okay.
30 years down the line, and we now know it's not all in my head. But that really hindered my development.
Yeah.
For a good decade or so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that's where I talk about ego. But because I'm sorry, I didn't, formally train for 20,000 years, but I can slip into trance, no problem. What that scares you, that I have an ability that you've had to train for 40,000 years to get. Surely you should be celebrating everybody's uniqueness and everybody's ability and everybody's skill set, rather than trying to put people down and just make them stay in their corner.
Yeah. And do you think it also come down to exactly that control?
Yeah.
Because if everybody did the same, you know what I mean? If there's rules, there's control. If there's no rules and you're doing whatever, there's no control.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. But it's
sorry, go on.
Go on.
So the new way would be very open to everybody's unique skills. However, you know what I mean? Because, sometimes we come into this life with these unique skills. And do you think the new way allows people to express those and use those more and build on that?
Oh, I would 100% say so. Don't get me wrong, there is still, I've joined a couple of groups online, because I still want to learn, even though I do this, I still want to learn and engage with others and, impart knowledge and, and gain knowledge. I'm forever wanting to learn. And I've joined a couple and I've gone, no, sorry, not my type of thing. This is ego run.
Yeah.
Not run from, the inner heart of somebody who wants to actually truly teach somebody and to impart knowledge and allow them to expand and evolve. What's going on?
Your screen's doing all sorts of...
Is it? And I'm not touching anything.
I know.
Here's my mouse and it's down there and I'm not touching anything.
Spirit's giving you the thumbs up.
What was I talking about?
The new way of...
It was about ego driven.
Yeah, people,
And we got a big thumbs up from Spirit there saying, bonkers. So no, I as soon as I feel that the group is ego driven, I'm out there. No,
and too many rules and processes. Yeah.
I don't want to be party to this bullshit.
Yeah.
This is human led, it's not spirit led. So I get the hell away from it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And don't look back.
Yeah. So if someone's looking to join a group or learn, they would be looking for a teacher who would be open to their unique abilities. Like, what would someone look for if they were wanting to step into this path? What sort of teacher would they be looking for or looking at?
God, that's a loaded question, to be honest with you. And the reason it's a loaded question is, what are your abilities? That's the question that you need to ask yourself first and foremost.
Yeah, well, that's true. But just even general mediumship, like let's just say evidential.
So general mediumship. So with something like that, you want to be just joining a normal like development group to develop psychic abilities or mediumship abilities. Um, and remember, people, you have to start somewhere. Just because you can do it,
Mm.
you still need to be grounded and you still need to learn the foundations.
Mm.
So going back to me being able to go into trance when I, first started, it would have been really, really helpful for somebody to acknowledge what it was I was doing
Mm.
and saying to me, well, actually, Dawn, so this is trance and you're slipping into trance, and that's where a spirit is coming very, very close into your energy, and that's what you're feeling and that's what you're experiencing.
Mm.
But that's not helpful at the moment. So we can help you with that a little bit further down the line, because you actually need to learn the foundation. What's a psychic reading? What's a mediumship reading? What's the difference? What's the difference in energy? If they'd come at it like that, I'd have gone, fab, no problem.
Yeah.
And then I would have gone off and I would have researched what the hell trance was.
Yeah.
So I can gain the knowledge for myself, and I don't have to wait for somebody to impart knowledge on me.
Mm.
But I most certainly would have put that on hold until I learned the foundations,
Yeah.
because it's vital that you do. You can't, I'm saying you can't, you can, but
it's more helpful.
It's not helpful. You need to be grounded. And I've seen so many people who can speak to people like that, who see dead people, blum, 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 blum. But their mind is so blown away by it all, they haven't really got a firm grip on reality. They're in that in between spirit and physical. It's not helpful when you're in a shopping centre and you're, trying to get your groceries and you're talking to dead people. Time and a place.
Yeah.
So working on the foundations is important.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Doing it for 20,000 years? No, not so much.
Yeah. And a teacher who will nurture and help you to grow your abilities.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. When I've taught, oh my God, I've seen so many unique, oh God, that's another question. I've seen so many unique abilities. I'm like, oh my God, teach me. I'm the teacher, but if they've got stuff that they know how to do, I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. That is brilliant. But it's still their unique story. It's still, I can't replicate what they're doing because they're unique.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can blend it to my own uniqueness, but I will never be that person.
Yeah.
So, and you should embrace that. You should allow people to have their uniqueness. There was a situation where a medium who is a teacher as well would actually take people's ideas and then run with it themselves.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's not very ethical, is it?
No, I don't think so. So, as with anything, there's a lot of stuff in there that you need to be aware of. Ego is a huge thing in spiritualism. It shouldn't be. You would think spiritualists are spiritual people.
Yeah.
Well, there's a hell of a lot of egos out there.
Yeah.
But that I think runs true for any kind of faith-based organization, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
A lot of egos in there.
Yeah.
You do it my way or you don't do it.
Yeah.
You hit the highway.
That's it. That's it. All right. I think that's been very helpful. I think we've got time for one more question.
Oh, okay.
All right. So that was a good topic, and hopefully that's helped a lot of people out, that one.
Oh, I hope so. Yeah. I mean, if ever they're kind of like at a loss, get in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But also, ask your friends who are in the spiritual kind of life, if you like. Do you recommend any really good teachers?
That's it. Exactly. And take your time
And
and look around. Don't just jump at the
yeah,
first opportunity. Yeah.
absolutely. And if you go there and it doesn't feel right, get out and join another one.
Exactly. That's it. It's not the be all end all because there's plenty of
No,
groups around.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Oh, you'll love this one.
Oh God, there you go.
Can you, so this is one you can't ask for a particular spirit to come through.
Why not?
Because for some
So
people,
again,
that's the rules.
yeah, and that comes from old mediumship.
Mm.
You're not allowed to ask for a spirit to come through. God, I have. That's the one I'm thinking of. So I was doing a reading for a lovely lady in America, and you get the sense that I haven't really hit the mark with who's come through. Don't get me wrong, the evidence is there and spot on. And I just asked the question. I said, "Is there anybody else?" Because she seemed a bit bored. She probably wasn't. Probably my perception of it.
Yeah.
I said, "Is there anybody else, you want me to bring through?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, my friend, blah blah." So I'm like, oh, "Do you know what?" I said, "I'll try. Can't promise, but I'll try." So I kind of like went off into my little. I didn't really. I'm just joking. So I put the thought out in my head. Okay, say her name is Jennifer. It wasn't, but Jennifer, if you're there, come on down. Your time is up. Let's get this off.
Yeah.
So this woman connected. My God, what a hippie this woman was.
Yeah.
Absolute hippie. She came smoking a spliff for a start, and I'm like, but she showed me exactly who she was. The way she was dressed and everything. And I'm like, oh my God, this woman's a hippie.
Yep.
And my sitter went, yeah, that's her.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
So I knew by calling her name, she was connected. That, it was her. If you're given the evidence, then why can't you ask for people to come through? It doesn't always work that way. And the reason it doesn't always work that way is sometimes it's not what their spirit world have in store for us.
Yeah. See, go on.
Well, I was going to say, and sometimes it all depends on our sitter as well. Because I had this woman come for a reading many years ago, and I opened the reading, and I got two men there who said they were her uncles, Peter and Robert. And she was going, no, and I'm like, what, you don't know these people? After giving lots and lots of evidence, and her answer to it all was no, no, no. So if I get like, 3 or 4 no's, I'm like, okay, well, we're obviously not connecting, And I said, so I'm really, really sorry, you don't understand who these people are. And sure, I know exactly who they are. Yes, they are my Uncle Peter and Uncle Robert, but I don't want to talk to them. I want to speak to my grandparents.
Oh, no.
I just, in my head, went, what the actual fuck? Do you not understand, love, the energy that's taken for me to make this connection?
Yeah.
It's a brilliant connection, immediate connection with their names and their relationship to her. And she's going, no, no, no. She wants to speak to her grandparents.
Oh.
And I just said to her, my God, I said, do you not understand that they could have actually been the people or the spirits to open up for your grandparents to come through, but you've blocked it with your energy going, no, 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 no. And quite frankly, love, I'm not continuing on with this reading because I'm not putting any more energy into somebody who's going to say no, no, no to every bit of phenomenal evidence given to them to prove that spirit is real.
Yeah. Wow.
So yes, you can ask for people to come through, but again, that also depends on the medium as well.
That's true.
What level of... So you've got mediumship and you've got psychic. Okay. When you're connecting on a mediumship level with spirit, if you're getting somebody saying no, 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 your own energy drops, and you're then reading on a psychic level because your sitter has screwed with your energy. You've allowed them to screw with your energy. Instead of keeping your energy up here, you've dropped. And that's where you then get incorrect information given, because it's the medium's mind, as well as what they're picking up psychically, interfering with the mediumship reading.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's depends on a lot of factors. If you've got a medium who is absolutely 100% in their prime energy ball, a sitter saying to them, no, 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 will not affect their energy level. So, for instance, let me give for example. I can't think of one at the moment, but literally, there's been so many examples, especially in the last few recent years, of me being told no. And me kind of like not even listening to their no, and just going back to the spirit, give me something that they do understand. It's like being given a piece of information and then going, no, I don't really understand that. So immediately I'm going back, okay, so expand on it, give me more. Instead of getting downhearted, oh my God, they've said no. I'm obviously a really shit medium.
Yeah.
I've got no problem. And they give me more information. And then they go, oh God, yeah. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of factors to that answer, actually. Because it's a lot of factors affect a reading as well. If I come onto a Zoom call to do a reading for somebody, what has happened 10 minutes before the call? Has the frigging lunatic dog been barking like a lunatic? Have I been screaming blue murder at him to shut up?
Yeah.
Have I just come from, a journey in my car and somebody's cut me up? So it's left me in a real shitty mood. It's not conducive to pure spirit energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to be careful with your own energy as the medium, that you're in a good space just before you do anything, that you're in a positive space.
Yeah.
And then you kind of like open then for all the positivity to come through and the pure spirit energy to connect and everything. So yeah, it's a lot of things that affect that, actually.
That's a good answer. And I would have to say, based on my own experience, I actually learnt reading only specific people, specific spirits coming in.
Interesting. So you're coming at it from the other angle.
Exactly. I'm from the other side, where I actually found it more difficult, because I had only learnt that way, to then sit with someone and go, oh, let me see who's out there at random, that may know you. And that was a real struggle for me, because that was a way I was not familiar with. So,
but isn't that kind of like a unique selling point, if you like? Not that it's a sale or anything, but a uniqueness about your ability that you can. Okay, you want George? Which George? I've got 5 Georges here for you.
Yeah.
Just see what I mean?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely phenomenal.
And that, I think that goes back to the way what you were speaking of before with the old way and the new way, where I was taught by someone who was sort of branching out into the new way of, you know what I mean? You sort of went off and you developed your own unique abilities and skills. So, yeah, but that's interesting. But I've heard a lot of people say that, and a lot of older mediums, that you cannot choose who you bring through. And I just think,
but you can.
I know.
God, again, it's, is it ego? Sometimes still, yes, I think, because when you have a shift in any common practice, there are those people who will still cling on to the old ways of doing things because it's what they know and it's what they're used to and it's what is comfortable and safe for them. Whereas the newer generation go, fuck it, let's try this. Yeah. And wow, what can happen?
Yeah.
What if we do this? Oh, what if we did that? And oh my God, isn't that exciting? Whereas the old ways are going, whoa, hang on a moment. That's not how, oh, my hand's going up again. That's not how we do things. That is not the way. This is the way. Don't get ahead of yourselves. Do you see what I mean? It's just, but that is with anything. I'm trying to think of a real life example of that where, oh God, okay. So, you have, just look at how far technology has come in the last 40 years. I've lived through that technology.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, we didn't have remote controls. Okay. Then the first remote control we had was something you plugged into the telly on a 4-meter lead, and the remote was passed around, for people to, it was just incredible. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But it was on a lead, so it wasn't really real. And then obviously you have your proper remotes then, they're cordless, all that technology and video recorders, VCRs, and you've got your Betamax technology and your VHS technology. Then Betamax died a death because it was crap. So VHS took over and everyone thought, oh my God, this is a game changer.
Yeah.
All of stuff, all the technology changes. But you'd still have older people or people who are set in their ways. I'm not getting a VCR.
Yeah.
Why would I want a video recorder? What for?
Yeah.
No, I'm just quite happy with my 4-channel TV.
Yeah. What's wrong with SBS and ABC for those that get SBS and ABC?
Yeah. But this is it. They're set in their ways because it's comfortable for them. It's what they know.
Yeah.
And the new way of doing things is alien to them. My mum, for instance, she won't do online banking.
Oh, yeah.
Categorically will not do it. And I'm like, why not? Well, you don't know what, they'll find out about you, and, technology, there's all these scammers and and I don't trust the technology that, my money's safe. Spammers and scammers and this. And in a sense, she's right. But unfortunately, that's where technology is going.
Yeah.
To be digital.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So we have to kind of bend and flex with the way that things advance. And if we're pretty static in the way that we think, then that's what you get is static responses and no evolving into something which is incredible. As I say, technology, for instance, the remote control to this phone I can use to video call people.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Me and you.
Yeah.
Australia, England.
Yeah, incredible.
Blows your mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely blows your bloody mind. So
Mm.
you have to evolve, you have to grow. Not everything is um bad,
Mm.
but my God, it's exciting, to try something new
Oh,
rather than,
yeah. Branch out and
oh,
experiment. Yeah.
yeah, rather than let's stick with that remote control because
Yeah.
it was good. Why did we have to change it? Because it's frigging shit. That's why. You see what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's about changing. It's about changing things up a little bit, and it's about allowing people to be unique
Yeah.
and to have their 15 minutes of fame and
Yeah.
to be incredible
Yeah.
and to, applaud people who are incredible,
Mm.
whether that's in mediumship or in life. My God, there are so many incredibly inspiring people in this
Yeah.
world.
And gifted. Whew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
blows your mind. But if we all had the same kind of like way of doing things, we'd never see these people who were
Mm.
so inspirational,
Yeah. That's it.
so incredibly inspirational.
Mm.
And I don't mean, your big major famous people. Although I have to say Nelson Mandela, oh my God, that man, what an inspiration.
Mm.
What an inspiration. I grew up with him incarcerated in South Africa. I grew up in that era. I have a bangle that my great uncle, I don't know where this is going, Shal, so just bear with me. I have a bangle that my uncle bought me from Zambia.
Mm.
What I find, um, it's a beautiful bangle. It's a silver bangle. It's absolutely gorgeous, handmade and everything.
Mm.
He bought it for my 18th birthday. But what I find really heartbreaking every time I look at that bangle is that bangle was made during apartheid in South Africa.
Yeah.
And then you have the resilience of Nelson Mandela to stay true to his soul,
Mm.
stay true to his soul purpose, and to become a world leader in peace.
Mm. Yeah.
Now, what if he was the same as everybody else?
Well, that's it. The world would stay the same.
And there you go. So we can't stay the same.
Mm.
Things change. We have to change. We have to evolve.
Mm.
And we have to also allow people to be incredible.
Yeah.
Because if you
Yeah.
don't, shame on you.
Mm.
Absolute shame on you.
Mm.
So get off your bloody ego box
Yeah.
and applaud people.
Yeah. And embrace the
Build them up.
uniqueness. Mm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Mm.
God, there was me on my soapbox for a bit there. But again, you have to just let people be special.
Yeah, that's it. Thank God for the new way. It's
Yeah,
all coming in.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, I think you've done a fantastic job going through those questions, Dawn. And
Can't even remember the bloody questions.
it went that way, sideways, and a little bit up and down and around and around and over there.
God, I don't know where the hell I go when we start, Michelle. I haven't got a clue where it's going to end up. So
it's all good.
All good.
That's all good. It's all good. Lucky I got a list. So we're going to answer some more questions in the next episode.
Can't wait.
Because we're definitely going to have you back. You're definitely going to be back. We've got quite a little list here that we're going to go through.
Why wouldn't you? Look at me. I'm amazing.
I know. And on that note, where can people find you?
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm available on Facebook. I don't do Twitter or any of the other stuff purely because I haven't got bloody time for it. So people can find me on Facebook under Dawn Gallagher. Just send me a message and I will answer. Send me a message. If you've got any questions, I'll happy to answer questions.
Now, you're also an author, Dawn, so where can people find your books? Throw them up there for everyone to have a look.
Okay. Well, they can find me on Amazon. So I wrote a book about genealogy for those who've listened before. So this is my book.
Mm-hmm.
It's about researching your family tree in England, the English records, because they're a minefield. So if you just search for Dawn D. Gallagher on Amazon, then you will find my book, Finding Family Trees. But also, I'm a publisher of colouring books as well.
Ooh, bring out your inner child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so again on Amazon, if you just search for, is that backwards to you? Can you read that?
Yeah, I can read that. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so it's Galadron Publishing. You'll find my books underneath that if you just put that in the search bar on Amazon. So no, I've done that because I've reached a time in life where I'm bored with stuff.
Mm. And what better way? Write a book, or two, or three, or four.
Yeah, so I have a few more coming out very soon. But that's another story.
It is. It is. All right, Dawn, thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing you again very shortly.
I can't wait. Can't wait.
To view the show notes, head over to themediumstable.com.au. If you want to watch these episodes, head over to our YouTube channel, The Medium's Table Podcast.